Previously on the Guardians of Earth, King Bowser with his fleet and army had begun the invasion of Southern California. The army was stopped short at Oakland City, while his troops faced off against the Anti-Megalosaurus force as well as the top Class A and S mutants. Bowser was locked in conflict with Dragonborn. The Koopa King thought he had won when he impaled him. However, Dragonborn was reanimated to the shock of everyone around him. The story continues as the fight between Bowser and Dragonborn escalates into third gear. Every soldier, Koopa, Goomba, and mutant looks at him. An unknown silence takes over the atmosphere. The man, who had thought to be dead, is now standing on his 2 feet again. The king of Kootopia looks at him in stunned disbelief. He thought he had killed him, but Andersson is far from dead.
How are you alive?
Bowser finally breaks the silence with that single question that is on everyone's minds. Anthony looks at his hand. Then, his eyes turn to his upper body. His shirt had been ripped. The wound that was there is now gone. In its place is a massive scar. Suddenly, he moves his eyes and turns his body behind him. He looks at the glass reflection of the window of the shop. He stares at himself for a short period of time. He looks at the reflection of his face. A piece of skin is peeling off like a banana. He looks at both of his hands and places them on his face. He presses on it, then a loud thunderous crack is heard. His hair turns pitch black and grows longer, reaching down past his shoulders. Everyone slightly adjusts to see what is on his face. Anthony removes his hands from his head and looks back at the reflection in the window. His face is now much more Asian. All right. Japanese, huh? Okay. His body turns and stares back at Bowser, revealing his face to him and to those who can see it. Bowser's reaction is less surprise, but more of confirming his suspicion.
So, you are the one who helped me 10 years ago. You were just using a disguise.
Not quite. I still don't remember how I lost my memory. But, thanks to your constant blows to my head, I now know who I am. His words terrifies Mario, Luigi, Chloe, and Jojo, but confuses Eleanor.
Oh, really? Can you tell me who you are then?
Andersson raises his right arm and points at the Koopa King. I'm the guy who wants to see how long you can last until I make you my bitch. I'm the guy who is going to kick the shit out of you until you can't fight no more. And I'm the guy who you'll be regretting to fight against, you shizno looking. Everyone becomes stunned at his words, including Bowser, whose reaction turns into anger at the first to last word.
Where did you learn that word?
It's called word of mouth, you uncultured fucknugget. Bowser's anger grows and grows by his words. Alright, that's enough. I'm taking over. No. Please, just let me.
I said no, Gamera.
You remember me. What I need is all of the power that was stored away. And what you need to do is to not interfere. Robert is mine to deal with, not yours. Very well. All of your power is returning as we speak. Good luck. Andersson continues to look at Bowser. I advise everyone except for this fat sack of shit to get away from here. Our fight is about to get really ugly. Bowser roars upwards. His roar is a message to his troops to get far away from them as possible. Immediately, the AMF soldiers slowly move back from the warriors. The mutants move quickly to a safe distance away. Once they are there, they look back at the two who haven't moved a muscle. Eleanor Harrington in particular looks directly at Andersson. As the winds blow his torn shirt and longer hair, she wonders to herself. He can't be the one, she thinks to herself. More doubts circle in her mind. But she will see when he and Bowser are locked in combat again.
Release mind control.
Hot red aura appears at his feet, then grows up to his head and the rest of his body. His eyes turn hot red as well. Bowser's black aura returns and surrounds his body once more. Bowser takes a step back and lunges forward. He throws a right punch, but Anthony immediately deflects the fist with his left hand. In the same motion, he grabs the spike pillar that he was impaled on, breaks it off, and like a baseball bat, smashes it against Bowser's face. The turtle staggers on his feet but finds his balance again. He returns to throw a left punch, yet that too gets deflected by Tony's right hand, and in the same motion swings his right leg upwards, kicking the Turtle King in between his legs with such impact. Bowser crumbles to his knees and grieves in pain. Dragonborn uppercuts Bowser in the chin, launching the turtle 20 feet up. He runs behind him and grabs his tail. As Bowser lands, his body is swung around 3 times. Dragonborn then throws the turtle down 13th Street. The turtle stops himself on the intersection of it and Franklin Street. As the king looks back, he is immediately met by Andersson's sudden kick to the left side of his face, which sends him flying onto the Tribune restaurant. As he crashes onto the wall, Tony rams into him into the restaurant itself. The turtle lands on his stomach. Anthony walks up and grabs him by the hair. When he is about to deliver a right punch, Bowser grabs him by his legs and swings him around like a rag doll, smashing him onto tables, chairs, the ceiling, and the floor. Bowser throws him to the wall, and the man flies through multiple buildings. He stops inside of the radio bar. Anthony looks back. Through the open holes, he can see the Colossus running through the walls to get to him. He looks around him, hundreds of bottles of alcohol in different varieties. He comes up with an idea. As Bowser crashes through the wall of the bar, Anthony steps aside and punches him down the bar. Dragonborn stomps on the floor with his right foot. Most of the bottles fly up in the air, then crashes down, shattering into pieces, spilling alcohol everywhere. Tony jumps and grabs a ceiling light and smashes it on the floor. The wires are still sparking bolts. When it comes in contact with the alcohol, the entire bar becomes a sea of fire. The fire blinds Bowser. He can't see what his enemy is doing. Tony launches himself through the flames and sucker punches Bowser, sending him flying out of the bar into the Cal East Bay Oakland Center. Anthony sucks up all of the fire, healing himself, and runs after him. In a college room, Bowser rolls into a spiked ball and stops himself. As he pops out of his shell, he is immediately greeted by Anthony, who delivers a stiff left punch, right punch, an uppercut, a jab to the eye, a left knee kick to the chin, followed by a roundhouse kick to the face. Bowser quickly grabs Anthony's right leg and throws the man's body against the wall. The turtle turns into the spiked ball and rams into him, crashing through the walls. However, Anthony grabs the ball but is still driven through. The two appear back outside onto Broadway through the thread-up office into the Blue Bottle Coffee. Dragonborn grabs onto the shell, finally stopping the Turtle King's roll and halting him. He tightly grips the shell and throws him over his shoulders out of the coffee shop. The turtle crashes into the Lead Spirits Lounge and comes out back outside. Tony looks to the left side and spots a Kawasaki motorcycle. Bowser pops out of his shell and shakes his head. He looks ahead and spots the motorcycle flying towards him. However, Bowser quickly counters by punching the bike away. Suddenly, Anthony appears and grabs a 2009 Ford F-150 and swings it at the turtle's face. Bowser stumbles and gets hit again on the top of his head with the same vehicle. He punches the truck away. Tony gets behind him and delivers a powerful, wicked right punch kick to Bowser's rear end. The turtle flies into the air and crashes through the Markers Gallery, the Museum of Art and Digital Entertainment, the walls and concrete of the parking garage of the Oakland Convention Center, and finally crashes on the 20th floor of the Oakland Dia Cafe and Bakery. Bowser finally comes to a halt. He lifts himself off of the floor and is overwhelmed with rage. He gathers energy to combat Dragonborn. Tony himself lifts his right eyebrow. He knows that Bowser is trying to regain strength. Anthony runs at the speed of Mach 10, creating a shockwave that flips over vehicles and shatters every window it comes in contact with. He arrives at the cafe, runs up the stairway, and stops on the 19th floor. He looks up at the ceiling. Bowser is right above him. He swings his right fist upwards through the ceiling, hitting Bowser in between the legs again. All of the energy stops going into him. Bowser collapses to his knees. Tony pops out like a mole behind him. He grabs his tail and drags him through the hole onto the 19th floor. But he doesn't stop there. Anthony slams the turtle through the floor of the 19th, all the way down to the bottom floor. Looking down to the hole, Anthony does not want to take any chances. He leaps up and flies down the open holes. He double stomps on Bowser's head, causing a shockwave that shatters the windows and picking up a lot of dust outwards. Anthony backflips over him, grabs his tail again, and throws him back outside. Bowser lands in the Blue California Tower. Just as he is about to recover, Anthony drop-kicks him in the chest. Bowser swings his right fist at him but gets deflected. Dragonborn delivers a rapid fire of 20 punches to the turtle's face, then delivers a stiff right sucker punch. Anthony looks up at the tower, then looks back at Bowser. He plants the palm of his left hand on the concrete, and as he lifts it back up, drags a string of concrete up. He straps it around Bowser's right arm, trapping him into the ground. He does the same to his left arm as well. Tony runs up to the side of the building. He squats down, hugs onto the wall, and grips it with his hands. He lifts up with his hands attached to the walls. The wall starts to crack. The cracks circles around the tower. The tower breaks off from its foundation as Dragonborn deadlifts it. Every human, mutant, Koopa, and Goomba who is watching this are stunned beyond all logic. That includes Bowser. Without a hint of hesitation, Andersson slams the tower onto Bowser, burying him alive. The impact shakes the earth underneath. Buildings around it crumbles, and dust and debris kicks up into the air. Watching it all unfold before their eyes, the AMF generals, commanders, soldiers, and officers are stunned speechless. The Koopa Armada is terrified. They have witnessed their king dominated and promptly buried alive. Anthony's own friends do not know what to think or even say about it. Anthony breathes in. He exhales, blowing the dust away. No sign of Bowser's movement. It seems like the job is done. He turns and starts walking away from the toppled tower. Eleanor looks at him and wonders. Wait, this is strange. Why is this mana control still on? It should have ran out like 5 minutes ago, and he should be drained of mana by now. Anthony, upon entering the Leyfate Square, stops dead in his tracks. He looks to his left and sniffs the air. Oh, for fuck's sake. He turns his body back towards the tower. The ground shakes. Then it shakes again. The fallen tower suddenly explodes. Pieces of debris flies up into the air and lands onto vehicles, on rooftops, and on some humans, killing them instantly. One piece of debris falls towards Dragonborn. Without stepping aside, he destroys it with his right fist. Large amounts of dust covers the entire area. Visibility is beyond low. Even so, Anthony waits for something to happen. A wave of fire breath shoots out and heads for him. Tony quickly takes a step forward and lifts his arms up. He crosses them like a Christian cross. Left arm going up with the hand facing him, and the right arm going across with the hand facing downwards. The flames touches the arms. Like a shield, he blocks it from going any further. Tony closes his hands. A loud, thunderous crack echoes in the air as the fire disappears. The dust finally clears the way. A furious Bowser is standing with his mouth billowing flames like a furnace. In full view of Hellraiser, she recognizes the position of his arms. In her mind, only one person is able to do that. Anthony rests his arms to his sides. Fire appears on the man's back. He breathes in and breathes out. Then he grinds his teeth to his left. The fire spins in a circle. Suddenly, it splits and goes around Tony like a bubble shield. All the while, he slowly breathes in and nobody notices it. Bowser roars and charges at him with a fist full of black magic. The spinning fire stops in front of Anthony's face. The man's eyes widens and turns snow white. He quickly opens his mouth, revealing bolts of electricity. Bowser's fist gets closer to him. Suddenly, a red-orange energy blast shoots 3 inches away, accompanied by a loud boom. In 1/10 of a second, the blast hits Bowser without giving the turtle any time to react. The blast immediately pushes the turtle back to the fallen tower. The back blast is so strong, it pushes some of the people who are behind him away. Anthony's head reels up because of the recoil. Facing straight up, the blast enters the vacuum of space. Then, after a few moments, it finally disappears. Anthony finally looks down. He lets out a heavy exhale. His eyes return back to red. He looks directly at Bowser. The turtle got hit in the shoulder. The blast barely pierced his skin, but did take a chunk of his upper shell. Dragonborn walks forward towards him. But he stops and looks back up. Did I hit something? Nah, probably an asteroid. He looks down and walks up to Bowser. As he stops in front of him, the turtle looks back at him. So, what did you do after the Civil War?
I want to bring the kingdom back to its former glory.
The Turtle King places his left hand on his shoulder and heals himself with black magic. Fully healed, he slowly gets back to his feet. As he does, he continues.
And ever since, I went into a direction that would benefit us. What I was given in return is more disrespect. It's absolutely maddening.
Anthony brushes his hair back as he continues to listen to him.
My people had compared me to my father, which is the biggest insult that I could receive. I thought the only way to gain the respect I wanted is by killing you and Rhaegon III. And you know what? I find you to be just as bad as the second Dovahkiin.
Anthony's fist clenches and his face grows more angrier.
It's a shame that he isn't alive. He would have looked at you with shame in your eyes.
Bowser quickly swings his right fist towards Anthony's face. Tony blocks it with his left hand. Dragonborn looks directly into the turtle's eyes with furious rage. Koopa, you fucking idiot. Don't you ever compare me to my father ever again. And as far as you trying to get some respect in your kingdom, you seriously think that this is going to work? He clenches the massive fist. Useless, 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 useless! He punches his fist away, grabs his collar, and throws Bowser over his shoulder. The king flies into the 901 Jefferson complex, crashing through the walls, breaking open kitchen sinks, beds, and appliances. Anthony runs through the holes in the walls, and as he reaches Bowser, he grabs the kitchen sink and smashes it in his left eyeball. Bowser howls in pain, but gets cut off by Dragonborn's kick to the stomach. Colliding with the wall, he looks back with one good eye. Like a wrecking ball, Anthony rams Bowser through the walls, back outside into the courtyard. Shoving him away, he touches the concrete and grabs a good chunk of it. He punches Bowser in the face 3 times with a fistful of concrete. The third punch sends the turtle back inside the complex. Just as Bowser stops himself, he gets shoulder checked back outside onto 9th Street. Bowser crashes on the side of a 1999 sedan. He sees Andersson coming at him with a kick. Bowser grabs the car and hits him with it, sending the man halfway down the street. Instead of falling on his back, he lands on his feet. Bowser throws the car. Right as he pounces at him, Dragonborn catches the vehicle, kicks it back, hits Bowser in midair, catches him by the tail, and in the same motion, throws him into the Oakland flower market. Bowser smashes through multiple flowers and roses before coming to a halt. Anthony enters the shop just as Bowser unleashes his fire breath. With no hesitation, Anthony gathers the dirt around him with telekinesis and blocks the string of fire. Then, he punches through the dirt, dragging it along, and punches Bowser, interrupting his fire breath. Then, with dirt still in his right hand, uppercuts Bowser out of the shop into the air. Andersson uses telekinesis to use the dirt to launch himself into the air after him. As he reaches his turtle, he grabs him by the collar. Robert, did you honestly think that I was going to go down that easily? Using the collar, he throws Bowser away. The turtle flies over the New Destiny Church onto Jefferson Square Park. He lands with a hard thud on the dirt. Speaking of dirt, Anthony slides on the tower of dirt onto solid ground. He exits the shop, grabs a stop sign, rips it out of the concrete sidewalk, and heads for the park. As he enters the park, he dodges Bowser's punch 5 separate times. Using it like a melee weapon, Andersson smashes the sign on the left side of Bowser's face with the edge, giving him a severe cut, then the right side with a similar cut. He swings it under his chin with the front of the sign. Bowser rolls on his back. Then, with no mercy, Andersson smashes the stop sign, the edge facing downwards, in between Bowser's legs. The turtle roars in absolute agony. It is so loud that it can be heard in San Francisco. The soldiers, men especially, couldn't help but wince. Anthony throws the bloody sign to his left. Bowser, in agonizing pain, rolls on his stomach and stumbles back to his feet. He looks directly at Dragonborn. His face has not changed from the angry expression. He throws a left punch, but Anthony catches it. Dragonborn grabs onto the arm and left kicks his elbow with his knee, breaking Bowser's arm in the process. Bowser once again roars in agony. The turtle returns by throwing a right punch. It collides with Anthony's own right fist. However, the turtle's hand breaks on contact. Bowser reels back from the man, roaring in the process. Anthony cuts him off again by kicking his left knee in, breaking it. Bowser falls on his stomach. He writhes in pain. His mind is telling him to stop, but he wants to continue. Are you starting to get it now? Bowser lifts his head up from the dirt and looks at Dragonborn. The reason why I'm literally overpowering you is because each strike you deliver, it goes right back to you tenfold. And you know what that makes you? The 3rd strongest being on Earth. You are not even in my or Godzilla's league. Bowser puffs white smoke from his nostrils in response. Now then, in terms of you getting respect, you seem to have the right mindset, trying to fix all the wrongs of the past. However, what you ended up doing was creating more wrongs than there were decades ago. That's why your people look at you as another Andrew. Don't believe me? He raises his right hand next to his face. Then let me show you what you don't see. He places his hand onto Bowser's head. The world around them becomes distorted. Then suddenly, they are in the middle of an urban area of Utopia. A family of Koopas cries out. The neighbors exit their homes. The family comes to their knees, begging for mercy. A Koopa they are pleading to had mortgaged their home to the state. Koopa troops exit their home, taking furniture and belongings along with them. Their family was late on paying the mortgage, so in return, the state repossesses the property. The neighbors around them look away in shame. They dare not to stop them or speak up. The world distorts again. In the training yards of the Koopa army, 2 troops exit a barrack. One looks at his comrade, while the other looks defeated. "Oh man, I'll never pay off my debt. I'll get kicked out of the army for sure. I can't even pay off the bills, they're so high." "I know. How come the high-ranking officers get treated like kings while we suffer in the dirt?" The 2 hears an argument. Then, loud noises erupts. The 2 runs over, followed by others. As they find out what is happening, they quickly take action. A recruit and a colonel were arguing that turned into a fistfight. The other separates the 2, but not enough to break up the altercation. The world distorts again. Another area, the rural area. But it is all too quiet. Bowser looks down. In his sights is a carcass of a Koopa holding a shovel. He looks away, but spots another carcass, this time a Goomba on the side of a horse. The king shakes his head, removing it from Anthony's hand. The world around them comes back to reality. Do you get it now? Your reforms for a prosperous nation has done very little. When people say you are like your father, they have a good reason for it. Bowser refuses to even look at Anthony. A flash of memory enters the man's mind. A memory of the young prince, beaten and bruised, begging on his knees. But you still have a chance to fix things. A chance for you to earn the respect that you need. A chance to prove to others, not just yourself, that you can become a better king. To be a good leader. An actual example for those who want to look up to you. And a chance to fix the relations between the United States and Cootopia. However, it is going to cost you losing this fight. Dragonborn lifts his right fist halfway. It becomes lit in flames. He looks at it, then looks at the king. You know, I have to thank you. You helped me unlock an old technique of mine. This is called the Banishing Fist. Its purpose? To shatter illusions and fantasies and cleanse the sins of the past. He grabs Bowser by the neck collar and holds his head up high. If you want to make allies, then you're going to have to do something that benefits others around you in the long run. This is your one and only chance. He reels his flaming fist back. Don't waste it like an idiot. He sucker punches Bowser in between the eyes. The flames explodes upwards 100 meters, forming a Christian cross. Everyone looks up in awe. Then it shatters into nothing after 5 seconds. They all look back at the 2 warriors. Bowser is on his stomach, while Anthony is still standing with the flames in his right hand disappearing. Dragonborn wins. King Robert Bowser loses. The soldiers of the Anti-Megalosaurus Force draws in closer to the fallen king. With their weapons drawn, they are not taking any chances. The ones in the back covers the rear to make sure the Koopa troops don't ambush them. Jojo and his squad gets beside Anthony. He looks at his friend. Andersson doesn't turn to look at him. Then Vargas looks back at Bowser. Wow, you did it. Nice job. Alright, we'll take over from here. You might want to lay low for a while. Anthony's eyes are still fixated on Bowser. He's not dead. Wait, what? A sudden snarl from Bowser confirms that he is still alive. The soldiers backs away and aims their heavy weapons. Tony extends his arm outwards. Eleanor and Chloe stops just 8 feet away. Mario and Luigi stands behind Tony. With one good leg, he slowly lifts himself from the dirt. Hacking and coughing out blood, he looks into Andersson's eyes. Call off your army. Very well. Kamek. The magic over hovers beside his king, holding him from falling forward. Inform the fleet and the troops to return home. We are done here. Kamek does not argue against his wish. He complies. He fires a white energy ball from his wand. The energy bursts 350 meters in the air. It is a signal to all to return to Cootopia, and that they do. The troops enter the destroyers, and the fleet heads north back to Cootopia. The clown counter lifts off on the battle carrier King Henry and lands near Bowser and Kamek. Bowser, with Kamek's help, limps over to the vehicle. He plants his back inside and sits down, relaxing his body. As the propeller turns, he looks at Dragonborn once more. Tell me one more thing. Do you remember who you are? I want to know your name. Anthony closes his eyes and thinks. A single name flashes in his mind. He opens his eyes and answers his question. It's Honda. Kenjiro Honda. Immediately, Hellraiser's eyes locks with his face. She is stunned. The one single person that she has been looking for is not only alive and well, but is standing right in front of her. She takes 2 steps back away from him, not knowing what to even say about it. Now, fuck off. If you and or your people come near San Francisco ever again, your kingdom will turn into nothing but rubble. And I will kill you. It is no threat, but a promise. Consider your request and warning heard. The clown copter lifts from the dirt. It ascends in altitude, then stops 500 meters up. Then it turns and follows the fleet back to the kingdom, with Kamek on his broomstick following suit. Not taking his eyes off of him, Kenjiro Honda continues to stare until the sight of him becomes a dot. Then he's gone. Honda turns back to his friends and comrades. He smiles and gives them a thumbs up. See? I told you I'd handle it. The aura around him finally disappears. His eye pupils returns to normal. His eyes closes and falls over to his side on the ground. As Mario, Luigi, Chloe, and Jojo attend to him, Eleanor is the only one who has not. She turns around and leaps into the air and heads back to San Francisco. Coming over the city, she has a lot of things on her mind. She lands on one of the towers. She collapses to her knees and places her hands on her head. She has no idea what to say or think of this entire thing. Bandaged to cover his injuries and unable to move, Bowser lays in his massive bed staring at the ceiling and pondering on what Dragonborn had told him. Standing beside the bed are Hal, Jeff, and Kamek. So, what do we do now? I don't know. Well, we have to think of something. Raygon is still coming here.
You think I don't know that? We're powerless with our king like this.
There's no other way that we can fend our kingdom.
We do nothing.
The 3 looks at him. What did you say?
I said, we do nothing. It is obvious that, even if I'm not in this condition, I'm not as strong as Raygon III. My fight against Dovahkiin has proved that to me.
The 3 are stunned. Never before has their king admit defeat, let alone admitting that he isn't strong enough to fight Godzilla.
Look on the bright side. At least Raygon is focused on Dovahkiin. In the meantime, Kamek.
Yes, sir?
Find me those lists of the bans and reforms sent by the people in the army. I think it's time for some changes.
Right away.
Al, head back to your farm. Jeff, you return to your barracks. You 2 are done here. For now.
The 3 exits the king's bedroom. All alone, Bowser stares at the ceiling, pondering, wondering about one thing.
Dovahkiin and the Gamera have a lot of work to do. Then again, they themselves have history with others around them.
Next time, digging up old wounds.